Hello, welcome to the podcast, A Possible and Impossible. And I'm Julie, and today I wanted to share what did I do during the Happy Mother's Day period, and also I would like to share a couple of details about my childhood, and I also want to share the very special maybe like the short film, and it's called Bao, and it's film is played and produced by the Disney Pixar's, and this is a very kind of touching videos. You guys can watch it. And the first one, I would like to have a short interest about the Mother's Day, and it's usually happen at maybe the May, maybe the second Sundays in May, and everyone was, maybe a lot of people will invite their mother or accompany their mother to like maybe a restaurant or give a lot of presents to her mothers. And in our traditional societies, especially for Taiwan's or maybe like Chinese cultures, most of us gave the carnations as a gift, and this is also usually seems to be this typical and symbolic for the Mother's Day gift, and we just buy a bunch of carnations to my mother's. But for me, I really love to like maybe handmade card to my mother's, and also I think the company with my mother is the biggest gift for her, and she said she's really happy, and like her children will accompany hers, because after we enter in college, we still don't have time to go home or see our parents. This is the very precious days and very precious moment for me to consider, to maybe like cared about, and at the same time I also find my maybe very early ago, maybe in ancient time, maybe I find my childhood photos, especially for the kindergartens and maybe or the elementary school. And for my surprise, that as soon as I saw these photos, it reminds me that a childhood seems to be the most enjoyable part in everyone's lives, and it is very free from worries, tensions, and maybe the distractions that come along with the matures our life in ours. Not just me, also everyone. The childhood is a very priceless time, and we don't have any kind of thing to worry about. We just happily living with our parents. This is very touching for me. And also, to my surprise, I also saw some embarrassed pictures that I can't speak without word, but I would say that I just play a fish in maybe like English drama. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. And what's more, I also find my parents their photos, and maybe they are all the students that is very fresh for me, because I haven't seen my parents when they were the students. This kind of really cool. And also I look these photos for a long time. This is absolutely the priceless memory for me. I want to say that owing to the Mother's Day, it reminds me that a few years ago I just saw a very special the short film and this is played by this is directed by the Disney's Pixar's, and the short film is follows a Chinese Canadian mother who struggles with emptiness but earns a second chance to parenthood when one of her dumplings comes alive. Surprisingly, the end of the ball has proved to be one of the more controversial ones in Pixar's long history of the animated short. And I want to talk about some details about a couple of details about this short film. In the film, the mother nurtures the baby dumpling as it grows up. At first, their relationship is harmonious, very peaceful. She dotes on the dumpling and they share the treat on the way home from the market. But as the boy grows up, distant from their relationship, and it came out refused her treat on the bus and leave the house late at night. Eventually, the dumpling grows up and is want to leave home because he don't want to control, or maybe they don't want to listen to her mother's words, and mother doesn't want to accept this, and the two is means like the boy and his girlfriends will get into the argument, and in act of desperation, the mother suddenly grabs and eats her dumpling sons. The moment later, it becomes clear that her relationship with the boy is kind of the reflections in her real life, and it's just a dream, and that of she and her sons. In the real world, her sons return home, and the two share the tender moment and shares the same treat. And later, they make a dumpling with her son's finances. It's left up to the viewers whether the eating moment represents the real-life argument gone wrong. Her mother's attempt to protect her sons and keeping at home. They want to her sons keep safe, or acceptance that there are no ways he couldn't keep her sons safe without losing him. But the sense is an emotionally a moment that resonates deeply to the children of the Asian immigrant, maybe Asian cultures. There is always an expectations in many Asian communities for the children to stay with their families or maybe parents until marriage, a lifestyle or a choice that is often sharply compared with the Western notions of the children. They're leaving the house at 18 and not coming back. It is a struggle of the two cultures' norms that the children of the immigrant from all backgrounds often have to face, and seeing it on screen was a kind of emotional experience for many people, not just me, also others, everyone. And this short film exactly that make me rethink about, especially for Asian cultures. This is kind of very traditional and stereotype of the Asian people. They often overprotect their children, and it's so different from the Western cultures. Because in the Western cultures, parents would usually want to make their children independent in an early age, and this is, I think, for me, is much better than the Asian people. And it is a very good reflections for most of us to rethink and to discuss this kind of issues, because it is very important and very common phenomena in our society, maybe just around us, so we can rethink about it. So thank you for listening.